Hello, this is Bobby Jo Price with Southern New Hampshire University. Going to talk to you today just a little bit about stress and the relationship that it has with wellness. The wellness model that we're going to be focusing on consists of 8 dimensions, and I'm just briefly going to go over each of those 8 dimensions real fast and some positive ways to influence those dimensions, and then some challenges that we can have as well with those dimensions. So the first one here is emotional. Some supporting factors for that would be meditation, positive coping skills, refraining from negative influences. Challenging factors could be lack of knowledge of appropriate coping mechanisms, using unhealthy coping skills, and lack of positive supports. The financial dimension, positive or supporting factors would be budgeting, having a sense of balance, being able to be responsible for your wants versus needs. And then challenges would be lack of knowledge of budgeting and planning, living in poverty, not being in control of personal finances. And then social dimension, creating relationships with workers or fellow students, belonging to groups, being involved in church or on sports teams, keeping in frequent contact with family and friends. And then some of those challenges would be social disabilities such as autism spectrum disorder, and not being involved outside of school or work. The next dimension is spiritual, and supporting factors for that would be meditation, prayer, attending worship. Challenges could be not having a sense of spirituality, feeling forced into religion, or betrayal by spiritual leaders. Occupational wellness, taking pride in work, striving for future occupational goals, being able to balance home and work. And then some challenges for that as well, feeling burnout at work, not having a positive relationship with coworkers, or not having employment at all. The next is the physical dimension, and that would include eating healthy foods, supplementing with nutrients, exercising regularly. And then challenges to that could be, again, living in poverty, not being able to afford the proper nutrition, living in a location that's not, doesn't focus a lot on health, and not having enough exercise or access to be able to exercise. The intellectual dimension, supporting factors for that would include being open to learning new things, taking education seriously, listening to others' ideas and concepts in conversations. Challenges could include not having access to proper education, no positive mentor or family member or friend to provide intellectual learning, or having an intellectual disability. Environmental dimension, some supporting factors for that include being aware of others smoking or using substances around you, ensuring that your home is free of chemicals, checking your water for safety levels. And again, those challenges can include living in poverty, no access to clean water, safe housing, lack of education about exposure to harmful substances and their impact, lack of control over environmental influences. And so we can see a huge relationship to all those. Includes, the not having the funds or the education to be healthy all the time. So let's talk about stress. What is stress? The term stress as it is currently used was coined by Hans Sale in 1936, who defined it as the non-specific response of the body to any demand for change. Now, what does stress do? Stress can cause many things. It can cause kidney failure. It can cause heart attack. It can cause stroke. It can cause high blood pressure. There are many bad things that we think of when we think of stress, because excess stress puts excess strain on our minds, our physical attitudes. It really does affect each of those dimensions. But stress can be good as well. Without stress, we might not do the things that we would, do without some stress. We might not do as well on a test without pressure and stress. We may not go to a job interview or perform as well if we're not stressed a little bit about that. So again, stress can be a good thing. Let's take a minute to look at workplace stress. There are a lot of occupations that can be, hugely stressful. And some of the pictures here we see are, firemen, judges, EMTs, paramedics, police officers, doctors, and just about any occupation that you're in is going to be extremely stressful. I want to look at one of those just as an example here. We're going to talk about social work. Social work is, it has one of the highest turnover rates in the United States. The average career lifespan for a social worker is only about 18 months. And if we look at why that is, it's really not hard to understand. Social workers face huge emotional stressors every day while working with the public. They're very underpaid, which leads to financial stress. Because of the long hours, there isn't much room for a social life. Physical wellness can be affected if they're hit or kicked by a child or a parent that's angry, and that really does happen. You can be intellectually stressed when they're called into court and have to question their own decisions, if they spend a lot of time in a toxic environment. And so, sometimes you can even question your own spirituality. And again, so that brings into all those 8 pieces of wellness that if one of them's out of balance, it just affects everything. So being aware of the stress in our lives, we can learn to perform better. We can learn to take in some strategies and implement them to make things better for ourselves. Some of those things can include meditation and prayer, or being physical in some way every day. Being knowledgeable about our environments and finances, and just doing things that we enjoy. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.